Let's talk to Peter Bleksley, former Metropolitan Police detective, of course. Peter Bleksley, very good morning to you. Greetings of the season.
Good morning to you, and Caesar's greetings, of course.
Absolutely right. Unfortunately, we haven't got a very seasonal story to talk about. Britain's youngest knife murderers have a minimum jail sentence, and then they've had it increased to 10 years. And this is a guy who was born in Anguilla, who lived in Birmingham, and when he was killed last year by two 13-year-old boys, thought to be Britain's youngest knife murderers. They were sent to prison. They can't be identified, but at least now they've had their prison sentences extended.
Yes, they've had 19-year-old Shawn Seesahai murdered brutally, 4 stab wounds, one of which was 23 centimetres long.
Wow.
So both went from one side of his body to the other. A fractured skull as well, fatal injuries from which he could not recover. And at the time of killing 19-year-old Shawn, the two murderers were actually 12 years old. Let's ponder that for a moment. Murdered by two 12-year-olds.
Unbelievable.
In a park when they should be playing football or having a laugh with their friends, not seeking to murder somebody. They got a ridiculously lenient sentence of 8.5 years, handed down by the original trial judge, Mrs Justice Tipples.
Right.
And the prosecution quite rightfully appealed, saying this sentence was too lenient. The Court of Appeal judges heard the case, and they've increased it to 10 years, which is not a massive increase, of course, and it means that these two boys will be eligible for parole to be considered for release when they are in their early 20s. I personally think that remains a lenient sentence. I'd like to see it nearer the 15, 18-year mark. But, of course, that's a matter for the judges and the sentencing council, because it's the sentencing council which essentially hands down guidelines which judges must abide by. A tragic case, an awful case, and 2 kids convicted of murder.
Exactly. And they're the youngest defendants believed to be convicted of the crime since Thompson and Venables. Robert Thompson and John Venables were convicted for murdering James Bulger. And they were identified, it seems to me, quite early on, weren't they? What's going to be the situation with these two? Because these two have not been identified, but presumably they will be identified at some point going forward.
They've been granted lifelong anonymity orders because the trial judge felt that their welfare, yes, I'll say that again, felt that their welfare was more important than the public being told who these murderers are. I sometimes shake my head in disbelief.
I know.
Anyway, what I strongly suspect as I gaze into my rather gloomy crystal ball is that one or maybe both of these clearly disturbed children will probably go on to offend after they've been released. And it will be at that point, I'm sure, that the media will ask for those anonymity orders to be lifted. And let's face it, if they do commit further crimes, whensoever they are released, then it is only right that they are named. I personally don't think this anonymity order should have been put in place in the very first instance.
No, quite right. It's bizarre, isn't it, the way sometimes these wheels of justice work. Peter, it's been great to talk to you all through the year. Thank you very much indeed for all of your help to us and bringing us a great perspective on crime and the people that commit it. We'll look forward to seeing you in the new year, and we'll look forward to having a great Christmas. Hope you have a good one.
And to you too. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Good stuff. Peter Bleksley, former Metropolitan Police detective. Thank you very much indeed.